Good evening. I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster, here with Weather Now Kentucky. We do have an update for you regarding the potential for severe weather tomorrow evening, of course, for central and eastern Kentucky. If you're in western Kentucky, of course, I don't think you really need to watch this broadcast tonight unless you're bored and just want to see a little bit of what's happening across the state. But as far as central and eastern Kentucky, that's where this severe threat is focused on. We could see damaging winds, isolated large hail, and of course, an isolated brief tornado or two cannot be ruled out. We'll go over all that information, of course, over the next 15 to 20 minutes or so. If you are watching this on playback, of course, we're live right now. But if you're watching this on playback later on, of course, you can skip ahead and look at all that information. But we're going to give it about a solid 30 to 45 seconds. Allow folks to funnel on in here. I know sometimes alerts go out faster or slower, depending upon where you're at and what your internet connection is looking like. So I always like to give folks a few minutes to hop in here. If you would not mind, while we're waiting, since this is really our first severe threat in quite some time. Again, we've had a couple severe warnings here and there, but this is our first level 2 or greater risk in at least 2 months in Kentucky. So if you would not mind, tap the share button at the bottom portion of your screen if you're over there on Facebook. Share it on your news feed so that way your friends and family can view the video and get up to date on what to expect. If you're on YouTube, obviously you can share the link out to anybody you would like as well. I would appreciate that, and thank you guys for all the hearts that you're sending across the screen, all the likes. Let me get to some of you guys now. Make sure you're saying hello as you come in. By the way, I want to make a quick note. I know there's going to be a little bit of echo on the audio. We are well aware of that. This is a brand new building. We have not had everything delivered yet that we need to make the audio not a lot better. I did put a few blankets up tonight, so hopefully the echo is a little bit better than what it was last night's video. But again, I do know there's going to be a bit of an echo, so just bear with us. Either way, we're going to get the information out to you here. Lauren, hey, how are you? Maria, I hope I'm saying that name correctly, or Mariah. I'm going to say Maria. Thank you. I appreciate that. Owsley County, good evening to you. Jamie, hello from London. What part of Kentucky, Bo? We'll go over that here in just a few moments, my friend. Megan, good evening to you. Phil, hello. Alex, how are you doing, my friend? Longtime friend there. Mindy from Jessamine County, hello. Mason and Silver Surfer, hello. Again, we are live on both YouTube and Twitter. I think we're also live on, we're live on YouTube and Facebook, and I think we're also live on Twitter. Let me check and make sure that's working real quick. I kind of forgot I enabled that tonight. Oh, yeah, we sure are live on Twitter, aka X, whatever you want to call it. So we're live everywhere tonight. We are live everywhere tonight. We'll give it about 20 more seconds, and then we'll dive into the information. Once again, we're talking about the severe weather threat for tomorrow, aka Friday, September 5th. And of course, we'll talk about where to expect things, what to expect, how to expect things, so on and so forth. I'll show you model data, the National Weather Service's forecast, as well as our forecast. So we'll show you everything that you need to know when it comes to what to expect for tomorrow. I know there's a lot of football games going on, whether it's high school or college. I think Louisville has a football game tomorrow night as well. So I know there's a lot happening tomorrow night, so that's why I wanted to go ahead and talk about this a little bit more with you guys. Okay, good evening to you all. Let's go ahead and look into our main screen here. First of all, you guys know I have to show you what's happening on the HAZ cam there, or on the cam from Elizabethtown Government over the I-65 corridor looking south there. Beautiful sunset shot there, if you will. Again, I want to reiterate, I do know there's probably going to be somewhat of an echo tonight. Again, we are well aware of that. It's just we had not gotten the proper equipment and stuff in that we've been looking for. But tonight I did throw a few blankets up, so hopefully that helps a little bit. So what I'm going to show you now, why is this so zoomed in? Let's zoom that out a little bit so you can why when I zoom out is it zooming in? That's incredible. But anyway, I'll go ahead and minimize this a little bit and show you a little bit better there. Before we get into all the information, all that good stuff, I do want to show you that there is actually a 24-hour precipitation chart right in front of you here. And you'll see that most folks have received, a lot of folks in central Kentucky, central western Kentucky, if you will, 1 to 2 inches of rainfall throughout the last, basically since midnight, if you will. 1 to 2 inches out in eastern Kentucky as well, with of course, western Kentucky. You guys missed out on most of the activity, which again, we forecasted that. So hopefully you weren't caught off guard by missing it. But again, the bulk of the rainfall today, definitely from around the I-65 corridor, maybe a little bit west to the points east there, where some much-needed rainfall occurred today. So again, that was what's happening, or what happened today. Here's what's happening now. Daniel Boone National Forest there. Almost a national forecast, my goodness. Nice little pop-up shower there, but nothing too much happening around the area. Maybe some scattered activity down here to the far southeastern corner of the state, just south of London and Manchester, down in that corner of the state. But again, mostly clear for, what, 90% of the state or so, so not anything too bad happening there. let's go ahead and look at the National Weather Service's forecast for your Friday. Again, this probably will update around, I believe, 2 a.m., either 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. Eastern time tonight, going overnight. So we'll have a post on that whenever it updates. I'll share the new maps with you guys, of course. But we do have our own forecast as well that I will show you here in just a few moments, and we'll show you the model data as well. So we're going to show you everything that we possibly can here. So a level 2 out of 5 risk or a slight risk does exist for your yellow area here, basically from Lexington to Nicholasville to Danville, Berea, Annville, London, Somerset, Campbellsville, so on and so forth. They did extend it back over here toward Bowling Green, which I didn't agree with at first, but some of the newer data is starting to show some signs that storms may tilt a little bit more back out here toward Russellville and Bowling Green. So this is a solid map from the National Weather Service. That's the categorical outlook. Here is the tornado outlook. Pretty much includes almost the whole state in a 2 to 4% tornado risk. Basically, so let me explain what this means. I feel like the National Weather Service could do a little bit of a better job conveying their messaging. But basically what this means is there's a 2 to 4% chance of a tornado occurring within 25 miles of a point anywhere in that green zone. I know it's kind of confusing. But basically, it's not really high up on the scale, but this does verify about 30 to 40% of the time. So odds are that there's likely going to be at least one tornado tomorrow, whether it's a spin up, whether it never touches the ground, whether it at least looks like it on radar. But that's kind of how this looks. Once you get to about 5%, 10% or higher, of course, that's when, of course, the alarm bells start going off. Don't get me wrong, everyone should pay attention tomorrow. But I do find it kind of ironic that they have the tornado risk all the way in western Kentucky, but have it in a 1 out of 5 zone out there. Just a bit interesting. Not really expecting storms to actually start out there in western Kentucky tomorrow until, of course, the actual just plain rain comes in, which we'll talk about that as well. There's multiple rounds to talk about tomorrow. That's a little bit confusing right now, but I'll break it down for you when we get to the model data. But there's the overall risk from the tornado outlook. As far as the wind, that's the main driver of the slight risk there. A 15 to 29% wind risk, basically meaning there's a 15 to 29% chance that anywhere within 25 miles of a point in that yellow zone, 60 mile per hour or greater winds, well, I guess technically 58 mile per hour or greater winds can occur in that yellow zone. And this brown zone, it's a 5% wind risk. As far as hail, there is a hail risk out as well. It's about a 5 to 14% chance for pretty much everyone in the state. Everyone's in brown. Not an overwhelming hail threat tomorrow, but we could see some isolated pockets of slightly larger than quarter-sized hail tomorrow, but not expecting a overall just a flat-out hailstorm. Tomorrow's main threat is definitely going to be your damaging winds. So that's National Weather Service's Storm Prediction Center's forecast there. Again, I'll show you mine here in just a little bit. But let's go ahead and look at the model data here for you. Let me go ahead and go to the HRRR model. It's kind of just the cleanest model to look at this point. And zoom it into the local view here so you see what we're looking at here. By the way, if you did not know, timestamps are up at your top left. So, for example, right now this model is looking at Thursday, which is today, all the way back at 2 p.m. Central Time or 3 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's how that works. Thank you, by the way, for all the shares and likes that are going on the screen. And if anyone's sent any star donations on Facebook or any money donations on YouTube, I can't see them for some reason. I don't know why the dashboard isn't working, but thank you very much for that. I appreciate you. So let's go ahead and scroll this on forward. As for tonight, not a whole lot happening. As for tomorrow morning, not a whole lot happening. Maybe some scattered rain down there in the southeastern corner of the state, but nothing too big. It's tomorrow evening that the actual cold front moves in. And before I actually show you the storms, I want to show you the force of the cold front here. So here are your highs for tomorrow. By the way, Bowling Green might get all the way up to the mid-90s tomorrow. I mean, we're talking about some really warm air trying to punch in just before the cold front. You can see the cold front, by the way, up here in Illinois and central Indiana, where it's 76, whereas Bowling Green's at 94, Clarksville, Tennessee's at 96, Nashville 97. So you see where the battle's going to take place tomorrow. And anytime you get a cold boundary moving into really warm air, we all know what happens. We learned all this in elementary school. Warm and cold air don't mix really well. So we know that some attitude from the environment is going to take place tomorrow, just from very simply like that, right? So advancing this forward, you'll see that by about the evening time, some of those rain showers begin to pop up. Cold front begins to sag a little bit more south, and then the cold front really takes over after that point. I mean, look what happens to the temperatures. I mean, it just gets smacked down. By the way, this is actually valid for Saturday at 1 p.m., 2 p.m. Eastern time. 60 in E-Town, Louisville 64, Bowling Green 63. So a very cool weekend on tap, and that might leak over into next week. We'll talk about that more toward the end of the video. Let's go ahead and show you the actual storm reflectivity map here. Get this all the way back toward Friday afternoon. you'll see that there's some good. I'm going to show you a few different models here, okay? And there is some variance. If you're just now tuning in, by the way, you have not really missed too much. There's going to be some. I'm going to show you a few different models, all right? And some models have this line starting all the way back out to the west. Some models have it starting in central Kentucky. Some models have it starting in eastern Kentucky. So there's a bit of discrepancy, if you will. So if anyone tells you they know exactly where this line is going to spark at this given moment, that's not true. Our best guess is that it's probably going to spark somewhere around the I-65 line. So that big blue line that you see splitting down the middle of the state there. That would be our best guess right now. But again, there are models that show different things, okay? So this is valid for 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Tries to spark some of the thunderstorms ongoing then. And then a little bit after they spark, they really intensify on the leading edge. So you'll see some of these purples begin to show up. Those are signifying some rotating storms that may be occurring. Again, rotation does not always indicate tornadic activity. It can indicate hail. It can indicate heavier rains. It can indicate damaging winds. So again, don't hear rotating storms and immediately think, oh my goodness, this is Armageddon. No, it can be any of the following 3 or 4 options that we just said. So advancing 4 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, you'll see it's a very thin line. I do think there will be a bit more activity than this. I think this might be a little bit too thin. But again, you see just north of Somerset, a purple dot. In Lexington Metro there, a purple dot. Up there toward Mount Olivet, Maysville, a purple dot. So again, some indications of some stronger thunderstorms just by simply looking at the reflectivity there. Advances 4 to 9 to 10, you'll see a really big strengthening on the northern side. Now, the other models show a really big strengthening on the southern side, more toward London, more toward Jackson, more toward southeastern Kentucky. So again, a little bit of disagreement there. On this particular model, it has it stronger on the northern side. I don't know which way that's going to go just yet. I have a feeling it's going to be somewhere in the middle. That's where we made our forecast. That's usually how it goes. And again, there's much more to it than just looking at the reflectivity, but just overall, again, one of these sides is going to be a little bit stronger than the other. I think it's going to be somewhere in the middle. Again, I'll show you the other models, by the way, as well. This is about for 10 to 11 p.m. Eastern Time. You'll see some backside thunderstorm activity starting to spark up. This may have a low-end shot of being severe as well. This would be a very low-end, marginal severe. And then after that, you'll see it just sparks a boundary of storms because an outflow boundary was laid. And now that cold front has fully moved through and sparked a long line of rain or maybe even thunder showers here. Do not take this 100% verbatim. This line could be a little bit more north. It could be a little bit more south. So again, just know that somewhere in the middle of Kentucky, a line of thunder showers is going to kind of spark up and stall out. It could be in Radcliffe, Louisville. It could be down all the way down as far south as Bowling Green, Tennessee. So again, it could be anywhere in between those areas. But you'll see it kind of stalls out and just rains there forever. So someone's going to get along this line here, around the parkways, maybe just north, going to get a solid extra inch of rain or so. Again, lots of rainfall involved with that line. Then it'll kind of break up. And then by Saturday morning, you'll see here at 3 a.m. Central Time, lots of rain, maybe some thunder showers around the area there. And we just kind of get thunder showers all the way through Saturday morning. So again, for those of you that may not have seen a whole lot of rain from last night's this morning's ordeal, I should say, a lot of folks, almost everyone in Kentucky, will see at least something between Friday night to Saturday morning. Here are the total expected rainfall totals, I should say. Again, this is just from one model here. This is additional to what we already saw today, so this is not counting into what we saw today. You can see it's trying to see another solid stretch of 1 to 2 inches of rainfall somewhere in Kentucky there. A solid half inch or so in other places. But again, that's just one model. It could look a little bit different than that, all right? So what I want to show you now is one of the other models idea, the NAM 3K model here. This is a bit more of a warm bias model and also has a little bit more energy with it almost always, so don't take it 100% verbatim. But I think it's really important to see what multiple models are looking at. Now, we look at more than just models here behind the scenes, but for you all, this is something that's pretty easy to look at here. So again, Thursday night, not a whole lot happening. Going into Friday morning, not a whole lot happening on this model as well. So that's something we can agree on between the models there. And then by about Friday afternoon, now, I do want to point out that this is actually Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Central Time. It tries to spark the line just east of I-65, so that's a couple things that are a little bit different. Remember, on the other model that we saw, it sparked the line back here for like Meade County, Meade County, Grayson County, Ohio County, so on and so forth, just west of I-65. Okay, and it also sparked it at about 6 o'clock. So a few hours different. and probably about 100 miles different on west to east there. So a little bit of disagreement between the models, if you will. Now, this model is also trying to spark a little bit more east and has a little bit less coverage on it. We know that the NAM 3K model usually struggles with convection. With basically what I mean by that is it usually struggles with showing just how many storms are occurring. But it does at least agree with the HRRR model that the Lexington to Somerset area, basically just east of I-65, that's the prime target zone, if you will, for lack of better words, for some more robust, maybe stronger to severe weather. Because, again, you kind of see a broken line there with a few purples and reds popping up, again, usually indicating a little bit more of a stronger activity. And then behind the line, it does have some more lingering rain and thunder showers. But unlike the HRRR model, it has the bulk of the showers into Tennessee Friday night into Saturday morning. Doesn't have a whole lot happening in Kentucky. So, again, we're pretty close to this event, but a lot of disagreement. It does eventually, by Saturday morning around 8 to 10 a.m. or so, have some rain showers up into the Kentucky area, and then moving out by Saturday afternoon and evening. So that's kind of how the time frames are working out there. The main time frame for the severe line is going to be anywhere between 5 to 10 p.m. And then after that, we'll have some lingering rain showers all the way into Saturday morning. By about Saturday around lunchtime, most folks should be clear from a lot of things. But I will show you our forecast as well. But before I do that, of course, I want to show you a few messages from our sponsors here. If you go to hyperroofing.com, you can actually get a free estimate if you're in or around Hardin County. You can see they're based in Elizabethtown. And of course, by the way, real quickly before I go through all this, I will get to a few of your questions and show you our forecast and everything. Just give me a few minutes to pay the bills here. These folks allow us to be here for you guys 24/7, so hopefully you consider using some of our sponsors and supporting them. But Hyper Roofing is who we use in Hardin County. Again, you get a free roof inspection from them, and they also have emergency storm damage repair financing available, so on and so forth. Very easy. Go to hyperroofing.com, or the link should be scrolling in our chat around Facebook there. Next up, here's FBIbuildings.com. You can go to get a free estimate from them as well. You can take a look at what all they do: commercial buildings, farm buildings, residential buildings, horse barns, barn doors is what we like to call them on the last night's broadcast, pole barns, repairs or new builds. They also have really, really top-end experts of engineers there. You can get a free quote by going to FBIbuildings.com. Next, I want to show you a message from our sponsor, Right Implement here. Again, they have an oil and filter sale ongoing right now, 10% off of oil 55 gallons or more, and 5% off of oil 5 to 54 gallons. So it's going to be a lot of tilling, a lot of harvesting over the next couple of months. Make sure you stock up on the oil and those filters there. Make sure your equipment's running nice and smooth. From Once Upon a Child, here is their September event schedule for the Once Upon a Child location in Outer Loop in Louisville, Kentucky, and in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. We already saw the Labor Day sale ongoing. Next up for them is Grandparents' Day. I might have to take my grandma up there. We go to Once Upon a Child at E-Town all the time. It's just a wonderful shop there. Tote Bag Tuesday, September 30th, so on and so forth. They have so many cool events. Once Upon a Child in E-Town or on Outer Loop in Louisville. And finally, last but not least here, Plato's Closet, right next door to the Once Upon a Child in E-Town. There's their event schedule for September. You can see all the sales they have ongoing. By the way, you can find all this information on their Facebook pages as well. And again, all month long, they have sell guys items to be entered into win a Nike gift card. I love Nike, so I might have to take some of my extra clothes up there, get some money, and be entered into a gift card giveaway. I love that. I do that stuff all the time. But that's the messages from our sponsors. Thank you to our sponsors once again. They allow us to be here for you guys 24/7. We love them so much. Again, without them, there is no W&K. So, again, I hope you guys consider supporting our sponsors the way they support us. Let's go ahead and show you our forecast now. Get the sponsor stuff off the page here. And actually, I'll go back to the full scene here so you can kind of see it a little bit better. Here is our forecast. Again, strong to severe storms. We already posted this Friday night. Time frames are on the bottom there. Again, some models are a little bit different with the time frames. I also know that the National Weather Service had their level 2 out of 5 risk over here toward Bowling Green. I wouldn't really look at our key too much. Just know that these are the kind of the target areas here. Don't get freaked out by this red area. This is just an area where I feel might be upgraded. Just again, depending upon how the nighttime data comes in, early morning data comes in, early morning meso-analysis comes in. that's an area that could be upgraded just because, again, that's where the best mixing of all ingredients takes place when we're talking about wind shear, we're talking about storm fuel, when you're talking about temperature gradients, all that good nerdy stuff. That's where a lot of the best mixing of ingredients takes place, and usually that's where some of your stronger storms take place, is where the best mixing occurs. So, again, that's our forecast overall. A cold front dive southeast. There is subtle but enough wind shear along with instability from the warm air that storms may present a low wind but present severe risk. The red area is the best mixing, like I just discussed there. The orange area is 2 to 4% tornado risk, 15 to 29% risk of damaging winds, a few isolated medium hail producers, if you will. Yellow, to me, is the highest area of uncertainty. And again, it's pretty obvious why that's the case. Again, the one model I showed you did not spark storms at all in the yellow area. The other model I showed you sparked strong to severe storms in that yellow area. So again, that's why I feel like it's the most uncertain area. If we do get storms in the yellow area, like Bowling Green, E-Town, Louisville, Owenton, so on and so forth, Pikeville, of course, they have the chance to be strong to severe, and then you would then have to act like you're in the orange zone. Okay, that's kind of how we're playing that a little bit. I know it's a little bit confusing, but hopefully, we're catching on to that. I'll get to a few of your questions now. But I feel like we did a pretty good job breaking down a lot of that there, so I won't spend too long taking the questions. But I will at least try and make sure I answer as many of them as possible. Okay, Jennifer says, what time will it start? The time frames are in the bottom there, so hopefully you can find your location on the map and then find the corresponding time frame for that. Now I saw him about a 40% chance. Keith, I'm not sure what you're talking about, my friend. John, appreciate you. Faith, thank you so much. Likes and loves are free. It helps them. Please show your support. Cody, thank you very much. I appreciate that. They absolutely are. And of course, you guys know how social media works. Shares and likes are the number one way to help support us and keep us growing. By the way, I did see a couple of star donations on my phone at least. Jessica, thank you for your 99 stars. Carolyn, thank you for your 50 stars. I appreciate that. Ashton, thank you for your 99 stars as well. I have to pull up the stars on my phone because they're not working on my computer for some reason. So Thomas, so is West Kentucky going to miss out on this? Most of it, yes, but you will see the backside rainfall. As far as severe weather, I don't think you see that. I hate to be that guy, but what does the rain look like for Saturday? I heard cool weather, but wanted to see what the car shows will be like. I think most folks on Saturday will be cleared out by at least lunchtime. So Burnside, Somerset will be rough, possibly. I do think so. I do think you have the possibility to see severe weather. That's not a guarantee. I don't think this is a big event for tomorrow. We've certainly seen much bigger, especially for those places like Somerset and Burnside, London. But again, this is our first one in a while. I made a post this morning that said it was our first risk in 2 to 3 months, and people lost their mind. They think I was just rooting for severe weather or rooting for London to get hit again. Some of those comments were absolutely wild. That's not what I meant at all. I was just trying to call attention to it because I know there's a lot of football games tomorrow night, a lot of folks out and about because football's so big in Kentucky. And there's all kinds of events going on. So that's why I made that post this morning. And obviously, it is our first risk in a while. When you go from what we had this spring and early summer and late winter, where it felt like we had a risk 2 or 3 times a week. And then all of a sudden, for the last 2 months, we haven't really had a whole lot. Yeah, we've had a couple storms here and there, but not really a huge risk. Yeah, it feels like the first one in a bit. Sierra says, if I live in a trailer in the orange zone, would it be best to find somewhere to stay? I don't think you have to do that. Again, obviously, you want to have backup plans in place and know where to go if we give the warning to go somewhere. But this is not. I don't think everywhere in that orange or red zone is going to get hit. There's going to be some broken parts of the line. So I would hate to tell you to go somewhere else when you might not need to. I would just say, hey, pay attention to what we're talking about. Kara says, do I see time frames possibly changing at all? It could start a little bit earlier than what we have. So if it starts like 4 to 5 p.m. out here in the yellow zone, obviously you would speed up by an hour, for the following zones. Yeah, I will say the time frame's not 100% set in stone. If we have any changes to that, we'll let you guys know. Kelsey, most of the severe weather should be exited by then. Traveling from Pikeville to E-Town tomorrow, hopefully you can at least tomorrow, hopefully, if you're done with your travel by about 5 p.m., you should be good. The red zone is highest chance for tornadoes? Not necessarily. I think it's the highest chance for severe weather. And it could be any of those modes: damaging winds, isolated tornado or two, or damaging hail. Justin, I appreciate that, my friend. What about Kentucky? Well, this is awkward. I'm pretty sure we're covering Kentucky. Why does it say upgrade? I have an upgrade question mark because, again, this is, if you read the breakdown over here, this is the area where the best mixing of all ingredients takes place. So I could see an upgrade happening. Do I think they will do it? Probably not. By they, I mean the Storm Prediction Center, because it's very fringe right now. But if any of the evening data that comes in later on or any of the morning data ticks up any bit at all, we could see a slight upgrade in this area to a level 3 out of 5 risk. But again, I think it's probably going to stay as a 2 out of 5. That's why I put the upgrade question mark. Again, if you're looking for time frames, just find your area on the map. If you're in one of those bars there and look down, you'll see the time frames in the bottom. We do not cover Indiana, my friend, but you can follow Ben Pine, meteorologist Ben Pine on Facebook, and he'll let you know what to expect. Yeah, James, I really didn't know how to respond to that because Kentucky is quite literally our only map on the screen right now, and it's in our name. So I wasn't sure if that person was trolling or not. So that's why I was like, this is a little bit awkward because I don't talk about anywhere else. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Justin. Yellow, orange, or red, just be weather aware and watch for updates. That's exactly the case. You know, I don't think this is a big time headline event for tomorrow. This is not going to go down as anything in the history books, but this is our first, I guess, real severe risk in a while, widespread anyway. So that's why we put a little bit more emphasis. If this was just something, if this was, let me put it this way, if this was an event that was happening in the spring, I probably wouldn't be spending much time on it because we're already used to it. Everyone's already on higher alert. This would just be something we mention, go live for if we need to, so on and so forth. But since this is the first one and it's, September, first event that we've seen, first risk that we've seen 2 or higher in quite, a few months. That's why there's a little bit more emphasis on it. Also, it's on a Friday night where most folks are going out to football games like we mentioned or other events. That's why we also put a little bit more emphasis on it as well, just to kind of make sure everyone's kind of up to date. So 7 to 9 p.m. for the London area. Yes, that's correct. By the way, all these time frames are Eastern times. Anytime I post is Eastern time unless I say otherwise. Yeah, correct, Mindy. Again, the 2 to 4% tornado map almost always verifies at about a 30 to 40% rate. So every once in a while you'll get one that doesn't have a tornado occurring, but almost always has at least one. Okay, I think that's going to do it for us here. I think we're just getting to the questions now where we're asking about things we've already covered. So usually that's a good sign to me to go ahead and wrap up the broadcast. I don't want to keep your guys' time too much here. Just know it's not a headline event. Just keep an eye on things. Main time frame tomorrow, as you can see in your top left there or the top middle left of your screen, 5 to 10 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, we'll be posting several updates throughout tomorrow morning, afternoon, before the event. And of course, we'll be live during the event if it calls for you. All right. I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. Thank you so much for tuning into our broadcast. If you are just now tuning in, this video will be available on YouTube and Twitter as well as Facebook for you to watch on playback. You can scroll through and skip through any information that you might need. But until tomorrow, I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here. Stay safe.